Hey, Sean, any update on Joe Noteboom?
Yeah, he did. He ruptured his Achilles, so he'll get surgery probably sometime this week, and he'll be out for the year. And then the other injuries, Grant Haley got a grade 2 ACL sprain, probably 4 to 6 weeks, and he's a likely candidate for IR.
And going off of that, Sean, how do you move forward without Joe? Do you bring in another veteran tackle? Do you sign one? Do you trade for one? How do you adjust to that?
Yeah, all of those things are possibilities. So we'll be looking at that after I get done with you guys. Les and I will put our heads together with his group and some of our coaches and try to figure out what are the best steps moving forward.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
Gary? We can't hear you, man.
Pardon me?
Okay, we got you.
Okay. Can you give us an update on the Cam Akers situation?
Yeah, there's no updates on that right now. There is a possibility that we could try to help him look for a fresh new start with another team. That's something that we've explored. If that doesn't come to fruition, then we'll figure out a solution how to best move forward with him here. And those will be things that we'll work towards over the next couple days.
So what is the issue? I know you've described it as an internal issue, but is it a matter of playing time? Is it the way he's being treated or coached? How would you describe that?
As an internal issue.
Okay, so
So I'll keep it at that. I'm not gonna. I know you got to be able to ask me that, but out of respect for a lot of the things behind the scenes, there's probably a move that will be made in regards to him being with another team. If that doesn't happen, we'll move forward. And there's a lot of layers to it, but that's kind of where I'll keep it.
and if you're not able to trade him, if you can't find a deal, is there a chance he would play for you again this season, or is that not on the table?
No. I definitely would. That's definitely something that I would never say is off the table. I'm definitely, I'd like to think I'm a very open-minded person. But I think when you look at certain situations and scenarios with the way that things have kind of unfolded, as of right now, I think that's the best option for all parties, I think, would be to explore if there's a good situation for him with another team. If that doesn't come to fruition, I would never say that him coming back and figuring out, the best way to be able to utilize him and him be the best player he's capable of is off the table. I would never speak in absolutes like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jordan?
Understand you think there's a lot of moving parts, but at times we've talked to you and then the things move very quickly and maybe we don't get a chance to follow up. So are you saying you expect us to have something concrete, whether it's Cam and a new team or not, in the coming hours and days?
I'm not sure. I mean, these are things that happen all the time, as you know. There's been calls made. There's exploration discussions as it relates to the possibility of him playing for another team, and that's the 100% truth, and that's exactly kind of where we're at with it right now. Whether that ends up happening today, tomorrow, or never, all are very likely possibilities as well. And because this is all a very new situation, Jordan. But it is, that is where we're at with it right now. But I will say, a lot of these types of discussions go on and nothing comes to fruition. And then sometimes things happen a lot quicker based on finding someone that accommodates the things that maybe you're looking for, that suits the interest of the player and our team. And so it just takes one. But in a lot of instances, sometimes things never work out.
A bit of an abrupt pivot, Sean, but who are you expecting to have back after the bye?
Brian Allen, Van Jefferson, Troy Hill, and Bobby Brown.
And in terms of those guys monitoring their
Cobie Durant will get back to.
Yeah. Caught some of Troy's workout before the game with the trainers. He looked like he was moving pretty good. And Van, I know has been in rehabbing and all of that. So with those two in particular, would you expect them to be able to contribute immediately, or is there an onboard period?
No, they would contribute immediately if that's the case. That's kind of the goal. There are, as you know, a lot of layers to that as well, with moving parts on all right, well, do you have the spots? Who's going to be up for the 48? Things like that. But if those guys are ready to go, they make us a better football team immediately.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
Stu,
Sean, as a follow-up to that, I know you covered who will be returning after the bye, but are there any guys that you've had dialogue about starting that 21-day window, even if they don't come back to play in week 8?
Other than those guys, they're really, not that I can speak to right now.
And then with Bobby, is his ankle is feeling good to the point where he'd be able to play?
He's feeling good. I think getting him on the grass and seeing how he's doing will be, kind of the first steps. But he's a guy that he helps us if he's feeling good, if he can pick up where he left off in training camp.
And then just one last quick one for me. Kyron Williams, I think it was 6 to 8 weeks was his original timeline. Where is he at right now?
He's a guy that you could potentially, you talk about that 21-day period. He's a guy that is a possibility to start discussing. He's making good progress. But that's kind of where that's at right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maria,
Hey, Sean, I wanted to also ask you about Van, but you pretty much answered that question. Is OBJ still maybe in the conversation or just don't know yet?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do not want to close the door on that, but there's just so many different moving parts relative to, all of our certain situations we're dealing with, just our players in general. And then, what is exactly the things that he's looking for that he's deserving of and that he's earned in terms of team compensation, all those types of things. But don't want to eliminate that possibility, but it will be great to get Van back. That'll be a big boost to our receiver room. But Odell, nothing's changed kind of, from my perspective, but this probably will offer an opportunity to get a little bit more clarity in terms of exactly what he's looking for and where his mindset and mentality is as it relates to the things that are important to him. And then also kind of his timeline based on, his recovery and things of that nature.
One more quick one. How did you feel that Malcolm Brown did yesterday?
I thought he did a good job. I thought he brings a veteran presence. I thought he had a good feel, good, tough, hard-earned yards, got us into a 3rd and manageable in the 4-minute, did a good job on the screen. So I was pleased with Malcolm. He's a pro's pro. I thought he had some really good physical blitz pickups where he stepped up with some internal pressures that they brought. And, I thought he did a nice job, Maria.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gary,
Hey, Sean, you pride yourself on communication. Your players talk about it all the time. How frustrating is it for you in regard to the Akers situation that you haven't been able to come to, I guess, whatever's happening, something where he'd be back, with the team and you wouldn't be trading him?
That's a good question. I think that the communication has been pretty clear and, there's been good dialogue, but that doesn't always mean that the solutions are in alignment with maybe the same scenario that's existed. Sometimes good dialogue can lead to clarity on making a decision that isn't necessarily easy, but it's the best. And so I do feel good about the dialogue that's existed between myself and Cam and myself and David Mulgeta and, just trying to figure out, because this certainly is not all, this isn't all a bad thing. This is just kind of a situation that, like I mentioned when you first asked about this last week, it's being able to make decisions that you think are best. And I'm never going to claim to always make the right decisions, but when you weigh the different things that we're working through and trying to figure out what's best for our football team and running back room in particular, that's kind of the direction that we're leaning towards right now. Does that mean that's where we'll end up? Certainly, like I had answered earlier, wouldn't pigeonhole myself into that, but I do feel good about in a challenging situation, I would call it. There has been clarity in regards to how we got here and why we're here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
we'll wrap with you, Greg.
Hey, Sean, I was just curious why Greg Gaines got about half as many snaps as Marquise Copeland yesterday. Was that rotational, situational?
We just wanted to play him on those 3rd downs yesterday. He was feeling a little something, he just wasn't feeling all the way great, and we wanted to just get Copeland a couple more snaps. So that was kind of the thought process behind it.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Jordan.
Yeah, sorry, Sean, I meant to follow up on that too. The broadcast showed he had a big wrap around his upper arm and maybe his chest. Does that have anything to do with it?
Yeah, he was a little sore in his shoulder, and it was restricting his ability to be able to kind of, especially with some of the types of ways that we want to be able to take on blocks, particularly in those rundowns, Jordan. It was just feeling it. It was nothing like he couldn't continue to play and push through, but just based on how that was going, we felt like Cope would be able to, be able to get a couple more snaps, and it's a good pivot by Henny yesterday.
If you don't mind me asking a bigger picture question, with the way that you accentuated some of your skill players yesterday, sweeps and lots of horizontal field space, and then picking your spots to go downfield and outside the hashes. Is this similar but different to years past where you've had certain personnel, like in 2019, where you guys went heavy 12 personnel because you had the players, and then last year when you used the extra tackles and got the power run going a little bit more? Was this sort of similar type of problem solving moment for you, obviously with a different style of play?
I think it was. I think, relative to yesterday's defense we anticipated in the game, I think that kind of fit for yesterday. I don't think, similar to those other situations, that's a thing that you can consistently count on, just based on, a lot of the things that we try to do, as are relative to, our players, number one, but then, the defensive structure and some of the coverage contours and front structures that we expect and anticipate from the opposition. And so yesterday, that was something that ended up working out. Whether that is applicable moving forward is really based on the opponent and our players available. So our guys did a good job. It was different than what you had seen. And I was happy those guys did a nice job executing.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.